Hello everyone, it's Karen at the Cool Tools Studio. I'm here today to offer an introduction to EZ925 sterling silver clay. EZ925 is a sterling silver alloy that is comprised of 92.5% silver and 7.5% copper. In comparison to fine silver and enriched sterlings, this traditional sterling silver alloy provides greater strength post-firing. This strength of sterling silver makes EZ925 the perfect choice for delicate or small pieces that may take a lot of wear and tear, or pieces that have moving components. EZ925 sterling is sold in 25 and 50 gram packs. As Cool Tools was developing this clay, I got to test it to get to know the working qualities that I'm going to share with you today. The first thing I do when I'm testing a clay is I like to redo a project that I've done before. That way I can compare the way that it works to the clays that I'm familiar with. So I started off by making this pebble river pendant project again. And then I wanted to see how it textured. And then at this point I was like, yeah, I really like this clay. Let's put it through the wringer. And I wanted to make a hinged piece. So I made this little locket. And then of course, anytime I have any opportunity to, I'm gonna make a ring. And I made these kind of looped rings where I was playing with how well this clay coils and how well you can manipulate the coils after they've been made. It's always frustrating when a clay dries when it's been coiled. So I tested that in this piece and then also in these little vine pendants. And then I made some more rings and then a little hollow foam project, a little bead here with some stones that I set. And all in all, I really enjoyed working with this clay. I'm really excited that it has some more strength to it once it's been sintered. So all that being said, let's open up a pack so you can see how this clay works. Just like all the other clays, it comes double sealed and vacuum packed. And for me, the biggest thing that was different from EZ960 was the way the clay feels right out of the package. So this clay may come out of the package kind of stiff, and we didn't send you bad clay, it didn't get dried out, it just needs a little bit of manipulation to warm it up. So you can either kind of knead it between your fingers. I don't know if you can tell, but when I pulled it off, it looked a little dry and kind of almost like cracked, but really it's just the way that it pulls, and then you just need to knead it a little bit to activate it. If you're not a fan of kneading or you feel like your hands are warm and you're going to dry out your clay with that, you can use a roller and just kind of roll and fold, roll and fold. And after a couple of goes with that, it's getting much softer. And now you can see as it pulls and stuff, it's a softer clay. So don't be startled if you've had it resting on your work surface or if when you first get it out of your package, if it feels stiff. So this clay rolls really smoothly. I'm just going to demonstrate some rolling and texturing so you can get a sense for how it performs and how it cuts. I'm using some Cool Slip on my work surface and roller. And it rolls really nicely, comes off really smoothly. Then I'm going to prep my texture tile like I always do with some Cool Slip as well. I'm going to texture down to 3. So it textures really cleanly and takes really small, fine impressions very well. And then it cuts smoothly, doesn't raise up an edge as it cuts. Yep. It does kind of have a stickiness, which is a little different from EZ960. I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing, just like something that's a little bit different. And then something I really do like about this clay is that it dries board flat. even with heat, you don't really have to babysit it. So I had a piece just like this one that I already dried, just a different texture, that I'm going to show you sanding on it and refining. This clay has a very smooth feel to it when you sand it. Some clays can have a bit of a grit. This clay sands really, really smoothly and makes a very, very fine dust. So it's really, really quick and easy to refine in the green wear phase, because it also has that forgiving nature that EZ960 has, where it's got some flexibility in the green wear phase. You don't have to worry too much about dropping and breaking, and it does have some bend and flexibility to it. This is a strip that I dried in a dehydrator set to 165 degrees Fahrenheit for just a couple of minutes. Just like EZ960, it has some flexibility. I do a lot of greenware construction in my work, and something that I noticed when I was doing greenware construction is that this clay actually will kind of soak water. And so I'm just going to put some water on here, and you'll see it draws it really readily into it. So that's great for when you're working and your clay's getting dry. It's really easy just to swipe some moisture on it and fold it back in. When you are doing that, I recommend just water. This clay does not play super well with Rejuvenate, so I do not recommend Rejuvenate for rehydrating or reconstituting this clay. But for connections, just using water is not gonna work out well. So I recommend mixing up a paste for connections with this clay, and I just have some water on a clay shaper here, and I just kind of press it in. This clay has a very high surface melt. It really, really readily wets and kind of, you can see here, sort of like melts, and it will really quickly turn into paste for you. So that's really great for making connections this way. I'm just kind of making some paste. And then right before I make the connection, I'm going to dampen both components just so the paste sticks a little bit better. Scoop some up on this piece and use paste for connections with this clay. Because this clay has good surface melt, it's an excellent candidate for wet refinement, and things clean up really, really easily with a brush and some water. Yeah, just really, really easy to smooth things out and work in a clean method when you're working with the lump clay or paste. I got some more clay out to demonstrate how this clay coils. And just like before, I'm going to knead it a little bit so it's nice and soft before I get going. And then whenever I'm doing a coil, I kind of pre-shape it just a little bit. And then apply some downward pressure. So I'm going back and forth with a snake maker. And this clay does have a little bit of stickiness, which makes it an excellent candidate for coils. And it has a long working time where you can make these coils and bend them and manipulate them, and they're not going to crack as you're working. I even tested this theory so much, I kind of made a goofy little piece where I tied knots with the clay and then turned it into a very interesting ring. But this clay coils really well and stays moist for a long time. And that's perfect for making ring bands or decorative coil elements. And it also will kind of squish back together, as I was saying before, with the surface melt and the way it draws moisture back in. Whenever I'm done with any clay, really, before I put it back in a package, I'll just take a finger, swipe some moisture, and fold it in before putting it away and storing it with the rest of my clay in a clay hydrator. Another benefit of EZ925 clay is that it fires at a lower temperature than some of our other clays. EZ925 sinters at 1550 degrees Fahrenheit for 1 hour. So that opens up a couple more CZs or stones that are more sensitive to heat. On that topic, firing EZ925 is very simple and straightforward. It can fire on an open shelf. It does not need carbon. And as I just said, you can full ramp to 1550 Fahrenheit or 843 degrees Celsius and just hold for 1 hour. If you are going to be bending post-firing, we recommend adding an additional 1 to 2 hours holds at 1550 or 843 Celsius, as not all kilns are accurately calibrated. An additional 1 or 2 hours of soak time will help ensure complete sintering. If you are creating a larger piece, like something that's going to be 10 cards or thicker, we recommend adding a burnout phase in order to assure that all the binders are burnt out before the temperature climbs up to sintering temperature. To fire thick pieces, especially those that may be bent, place bone-dry greenware on any firing support of your choice and full ramp to 650 degrees Fahrenheit or 343 degrees Celsius. Hold for 30 minutes at that temp and then full ramp up to 1550 degrees Fahrenheit or 843 degrees Celsius for 1 to 2 hours. Another really great thing about EZ925 Sterling is that it can be fired with lots of different firing supports. It works well with the superwool fiber blanket and then either vermiculite or alumina hydrate in a fused silica dish. It can also be fired on a ceramic fiber board or a hard ceramic board. EZ925 is an open shelf Sterling, but if you do need to fire in carbon for sensitive stones, you're going to full ramp up to 650 Fahrenheit or 343 Celsius and hold for 30 minutes. For this phase, you want the greenware on top of 1 inch of carbon in a steel firing container. For phase 2, you're going to want to full ramp up to 1430 degrees Fahrenheit or 777 degrees Celsius and hold for 2 hours. For phase 2, you want to cover your greenware with at least 1 inch of carbon and fire with a slotted lid or your lid slightly ajar. Like any metal clay, spending time refining your piece in the greenware phase will lend to easier polishing and higher shine post-fire. But the sintered EZ925 behaves just like any other sintered metal clay and can be brought up to a polish using hand polishing methods for a satin finish. Here I have one of the flash shiners, and I just wanted to show how nicely and easily this surface does polish up into a really nice shine. And for this, since it's textured, I didn't really refine that or use a sanding pad or anything on that. But on the side where I did, I sanded this up to microfine, and again starting with the green and moving on to the white, you can get a really high shine even with just hand polishing methods on this clay. Everyone likes different working qualities in their clay, so I suppose I can't say for sure whether you'll like this one or not, but I'm hoping I gave you enough information today to try for yourself. I personally really do enjoy it, and I hope you do too. Thanks for watching.